This is Daaim Shabazz with Chess From. We're in Budapest, Hungary at the 45th Chess Olympiad. The tournament is coming to an end, and some of the positions of the medals are still being determined, and some players are leaving and getting ready to go to the closing ceremonies, or getting ready for the closing ceremonies later on tonight. I have with me a very old friend, I guess you can say, who came in just a few nights ago. Welcome to the Chess From audience.
Thank you, brother.
We've interviewed a number of times.
Of course.
What brings you here to Budapest? Were you coaching? Were you holding any type of capacity?
I'm a chess tourist, 100%. Okay. My niece was getting married in Florence, Italy. And so it's so close. It was at the same time. And so I decided just to come here and hang out and see people I know and watch all the excitement.
You've had a chance to go around and see the environment and see the players. What's your impressions of the Olympiad here?
It's the Olympiad. I think it's the best chess event in the world, bar none. The World Championship is great. Other championships are wonderful. But the Olympiad is a celebration of all these nations coming together out of the respect for our game. And you can't beat it. Like it's as good as it gets to be able to have countries from the tip of the top, like India and the US, and then countries where players don't even have titles. And it's wonderful to see the diversity and the love for our game from all over the world.
So just kind of give us an update of what you've been doing. I know you stepped away from commentary, but you have your hands full with a lot of other projects. Can you kind of tell us what you've been doing?
Well, on the professional side, I've been doing either video courses for Chessable. I've written a couple of books. I do corporate speaking as well. And that, if you will, pays the bills. On the personal side, I've been on a mission to help young Black talent around the world. And that is something that I'm very passionate about, trying to make sure that there's a follow-up to our generation that produced a few grandmasters, but I feel like there's definitely not enough of them. And so I've gotten my hands in there dirty with just trying to make sure that people get support, people get resources, people get training, just identifying and then helping young Black talent to be able to flourish.
And you have the initiative in Jamaica to produce the first grandmaster. How is that initiative going?
It's going well. Jamaica is very much behind the idea of producing grandmasters in Jamaica. Of course, I was born there, stayed there for 12 years. I grew up in Jamaica before immigrating to the States. And so it's exciting for me to see the government decide to put in $250,000 US in 1 year, with the plan to do that every year for the next 10 years for us to produce a grandmaster in Jamaica. That's simply unheard of in a lot of countries. That's the kind of backing that we have. Now, it does require some folks staying in power, if you will, because it's this government that is supporting it. But we hope that if any governmental changes happen, that there'll be continuity in this mission. So it's very exciting. It's moving forward. We picked a core group of players already, young ones, 12 and under, to pursue this goal. And our goal is to produce grandmasters, pure and simple.
What do you think are some of the important elements that need to go into this initiative? Obviously, sponsorship is one, but what are some of the other elements that are needed?
Well, chess is pretty simple. When you think about becoming better at chess and a country becoming better at chess, first of all, you're going to need resources. So sponsorship, of course, is important. What you need to do is identify young, promising talent. Older folks, a lot of people think of young, maybe you think 15, 17, 19. No, young is 7, 8, 9, 10. And so we are very much focused on making sure that young generation who doesn't have to worry about high school, doesn't have to worry about university, doesn't have to worry about jobs, none of those concerns, they can really focus their time to becoming great at chess from a very young age. So you need that. You need the training. And no fine point on it. Grandmaster training is expensive. If you're not paying a GM $80, $90, $100, that's on the low end in some places, you're not going to get good. When I say good, you're not going to get great. And greatness requires that kind of funding. And then you need funding to travel to tournaments. You can't do it by playing chess online. I'm sorry. You have to do it by traveling and being in the jungle with the strongest players in the world. It's that simple. So you need the funding. You need to identify the young talent. You need to train the young talent. And then you need to make sure that they have enough resources to be able to travel and not have to think about it. That's expensive. Chess is truly an expensive person's sport. It seems like it's cheap. You get a chessboard. That's only if you're just playing for fun. When you're talking about getting to the highest level, you have to have the resources and you have to have a plan in order to execute.
So the environment in the U.S., there's a lot of talent. We just saw a Wonder Liang who's visiting the Olympiad, and there are several others. Hans Niemann, Christopher Yu, Abhimanyu Mishra are all coming up. Do you think the U.S. has the type of environment that can be an incubator for, say, a movement similar to what we see in India?
The United States has all the resources it needs. We just have to have the organization in place to make that happen. Of course, I mean, there's so much money flowing around that if somebody has the will to create the kind of youth movement that you need, I mean, right now we have some very strong players. Obviously, the cream of U.S. crop is also the cream of world crop as well. But this group, the Fabiano Caruanas, the Linnea Dominguez, Levon Aronian, Wesley So, who am I missing? Hikaru Nakamura. Those players are 30 and above. and frankly, even 40 and above in a couple of cases. So that's not to put a knock on them, but in chess, you need to have a constant refreshing of talent. Constant. Otherwise, you'll have a generation that does well, but sooner or later they pass. I mean, they have to pass the baton because, you peak in chess at around 33, thereabouts. So once that starts to happen, if you don't have that farm system that's just constantly producing champions, then you'll be left in the dust. And as India is showing, the youth is the future, pure and simple. And so the U.S. has to replicate India's model or create its own model for making sure that they incentivize the young players so that they can then hold it down 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and still remain a superpower in the world of chess.
So last question, we've talked about India a lot. Everybody's talking about India. Where do you see India in the next 10 years? Do you think they will be on top, or will you have, you obviously have Uzbekistan that's there, you have Turkey that has a couple of young players, Iran has talent coming out of there. Where do you see the world of chess, not to mention the U.S., but where do you see the world of chess going?
Well, India is going to be a dominant power for the next 10 years, easily. Will they win every Olympiad? That's impossible to say, right? They're going to be favored among the favorites, top 3 teams, without any question. You have Gukesh, you have Aragaisi, you got Pragdananda. They're all 21, 20 and under, and they've got more people coming. So India is going to be strong for a long time to come. But what does that mean? That means that other teams are fully incentivized to develop their own players. So maybe in the next 2 to 4 years, you'll see India as stone cold favorites. But people don't like sitting down and just watching themselves get steamrolled. So you'll see other countries come to the fore. Which ones they'll be? You mentioned some names already. Will it be Uzbekistan? Will it be Turkey? Will it be the United States? It's impossible to tell right now. But they're definitely strong candidates. And in chess, it's all about how you keep the lead, how you keep the initiative, maintain your advantage, and close out properly. And so we'll see how other teams come back and compete in years to come.
And then maybe we'll have someone from the African diaspora to break through as well. That will certainly be the day.
That is hugely important to me personally. The fact that you don't see any African teams mentioned at all, ever, literally ever. The fact that you don't see any Caribbean teams mentioned at all, that personally to me is frustrating. It requires a deep level of investment in order to make that the case. Of course, you see Jamaica, as I said, is doing that right now and effectuating that change, but more countries need to do it. Frankly, I don't care where it comes from. We need these countries to line up and start supporting the young talent that is absolutely there. It's going to require resources. It may be governmental resources, it may be private resources, but whatever it takes to make sure that there's a diversity of talent and participation at the highest levels, because right now it's not there.
Well, Maurice, thank you for the interview. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We look forward to your initiatives, and hopefully one day, when we have our next interview, we'll see that progress has been made.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
All right. Thank you. This is Daaim Shabazz, and we are signing off from Budapest.